Retro motorcycle styling and the ever popular adventure motorcycle categories come together with this, Moto Guzzi's brand new V85 TT. With the two best-selling segments in the motorcycle industry currently being the modern classic and adventure classes, it's really quite some surprise that until now there's been very little crossover between the two. But that all changes now with the 2019 Moto Guzzi V85 TT. Priced from $19,990, Moto Guzzi is calling the V85 TT a classic enduro, and that's their way of sort of marketing, putting their stamp on this new segment which combines the modern classic and the ever capable adventure class. But when it comes to living up to the expectations of such a machine, does the V85 really have what it takes? Well, we've come here to Phuket in Thailand for the Asia Pacific launch of the V85 TT to find out how it stacks up when it comes to delivering not only the comfort and go anywhere ability of an adventure bike, but also the characterful experience of a modern classic. When it comes to delivering the latter, the V85 TT, like all Moto Guzzis, has character in spades. While the bike follows the growing trend of a more manageable mid-class 850cc engine, unlike Moto Guzzi's other 850cc bikes, the V9 Roma and Bobber, Moto Guzzi's put a lot of effort into developing this engine and making it a bit more peppy. As such, it has 59 kilowatts and 80 newton meters of power, and while the bike isn't a powerhouse, it is more than capable for the task at hand. In fact, the engine isn't a tractor-like motor like we've come to expect from Moto Guzzi. Rev it above 4,500 RPM and it is really enjoyable, and when it comes to hitting the twisties, the bike is flickable, easily manageable and a lot of fun. So with the V85 TT being the first bike from Moto Guzzi to enter the adventure market since the Stelvio, the bike really did have to impress. As such, Moto Guzzi has put a lot of high-end parts and technology into this bike to make sure that it can not only stand up with the big boys of the class, but also define its own self. As such, not only does it have adjustable KYB suspension front and rear, Brembo brakes, it also has a TFT display instead of a traditional analog gauge cluster. The TFT has been developed through Piaggio, which is Moto Guzzi's larger parent company, and it's a brilliant bit of kit. Next to it is of course a USB charger, which is incredibly useful when you're touring. You can plug in your phone, GPS, or whatever device you have and charge it as you go. But the TFT is the real hero here. Not only does it give you all the information you need, you can also easily switch between three rider modes. So you have a road mode, a rain mode, and a off-road mode. Now, road mode is your general do anything all-purpose mode. Rain mode is for when it gets a bit slippery and dulls down your throttle response a wee bit. And off-road mode disables rear ABS and alters the traction control settings. As we found out when it came to hitting the beach, we needed to disable traction control completely, which thankfully Moto Guzzi has allowed you to do in off-road mode, as well as completely disable the ABS, which for adventure riders that is quite an important ability to be able to do. So a strong hint as to the target market that Moto Guzzi is targeting this bike at is the selection of wheel sizes. So unlike more adventurous adventure bikes which come with a 21-inch front wheel, Moto Guzzi has opted to do a more all-purpose 19-inch front wheel and 17-inch rear wheel combination here. So that's kind of screams out that this isn't intended to be a very serious off-road machine, but more as a nice all-round machine that can do a bit of everything with competence. With over 200 millimeters of ground clearance and a 23 litre fuel tank, which is the largest in the mid-size class, the bike can really do just that. Out on the road, the bike is a very comfortable machine with ergonomics that are perfectly suited for the average size rider, though Moto Guzzi does offer 3 comfort seat options that allow the bike to be tailored for 95% of the population, they just have told us. With its 19-inch front wheel, the bike is easy to flick from corner to corner when it comes to twisty road conditions, and there were plenty of those here in Thailand to put the bike through its paces. But yeah, you need to keep the engine revving above 4,500 RPM to really get the most out of it. When it came to riding the bike off-road, we had some time on some mucky trails and we did a couple of river crossings, and the bike was surprisingly competent. honestly, if you look at this bike, it does look a lot like it's been styled to look like a competent enduro machine. Not so much to actually fulfill that, but thankfully you can't judge a book by its cover, and the V85 TT is a very capable bike. In fact, when it came to riding it on the beach, all but one rider managed to get the bike bogged down, and the one rider who was not bogged down was the hero of the day and was riding the bike, riding rings around everyone else. It is incredibly capable in the right hands. So does the V85 TT hit the nail on the head for delivering that classic enduro promise, as Moto Guzzi puts it? Well, apart from some minor quirks and gripes to do with the electronics package, which is typically Italian, the V85 TT is a remarkably well-rounded motorcycle. With its sub $20,000 entry point and do anything nature, the V85 TT is a lot of motorcycle for your money.